I spawn in and find that I already made a friend, but he's too close and I can smell his bad breath. So I run off to get materials to begin the grind. I punch a tree to get wood like any real man would do. You gotta look both ways before you can cross the water, for piranha safety. So when I spawn in, I realized I messed up my spawn and was supposed to spawn on the other island just to try to capitalize getting explorer notes to level up very fast. I faced my first combat of this run, thankfully not the start bit. And I get to the explorer notes just to realize they never reset. So I have to restart into a new run. Which meanwhile at the restart I might as well do a death compilation of all the times I failed this challenge. This one especially hurt because this was on day 27, so wasted 27 hours in this run.
Oh wow, that went the extra mile.
Whoa! I decided to book it across to get to the explorer notes. And I forget piranha safety and get put within an inch of losing my life. Walking on with broken legs and a broken spirit from all the times I failed already. I keep hobbling on. I get my explorer notes to get my XP multiplier and begin picking some resources to start crafting things to get XP going. With this being a hardcore run, any death I have to fully restart, so it makes it so I have to think in depth about it, as one small mistake could end my entire run. I decided to start cooking some meat, so I'm not carrying around 50 pounds of berries to keep me full. And then I decided to build a raft base to start off so I can start getting stuff organized until I set up a full base. I had to get some hide to build said boat, so time to target the only tames I can kill. And after ravaging the local population, we get our boat. Trilobites are a great early game to help get some nice black pearls, and they're basically free chitin. And due to our explorer notes, we're already level 38 and have 13 minutes left of increased XP. So we start to build up our boat. For any advanced Ark players, I apologize as I'm not an experienced builder, so some of my builds may not be efficient or pretty looking. I find one of the few supply drops that ever has useful stuff in this challenge, and that's just because I have nothing yet. So because it's a safe space with very few dangerous animals, I decided to build here to start off till I get established enough to move. I just love how dumb Hesperonists look with the arrow sticking out of their neck. But killing them to get organic polymer means I don't have to kill penguins. Gotta start getting keratin/chitin for when I hopefully get a pteranodon to get around the map. I always love wearing the ghillie suit because it makes it feel like I'm playing COD Modern Warfare, all ghillied up. We finished at level 40 from the notes, so it's a good start to progress into unlocking tools and more engrams ASAP. We finish off day 1 with an unexpected guest, Mr. Bad Breath. Thankfully, it was only level 10, and thankfully don't die to the level 10 this time. And we get our first companion of the video, Bearette Grills a Dodo. Back in the Ark official days, I had a dodo named Bear Grylls that I had lost heading back to base before cryopods were a thing. 3 weeks later in real life time, I came back and he was still alive in the middle of the map. So I deemed him as a grizzled vet of survival. So now any dodo I see is Bear Grylls. To start building our base, I knew I had to get my metal production going fast. So into the eve of the first night, I worked to build our refining forge and then our smithy. Until I get metal to make crossbows and pikes, I'm basically a newborn baby in terms of defending myself. With the crossbow and the pike, at least I'm a toddler with a toy hammer. Although not dangerous, the Ichthyornis are one of the more annoying early game animals just because they pickpocket little toddler me and I aim the bow like a Buffalo Sabres player trying to aim for the open net. But just like a Buffalo Sabres player, we gotta hit the net every once in a while. I decided to start off day 2 by getting a Pteranodon to be able to fly around the map easier to get resources and tames. Immediately after knocking it out, I see 2 high school bullies capable of stuffing me in a locker forever. So I run back to the boat to head to the base. Where I caught this home invader trespassing, so I taught him to stay off my lawn. I grabbed my newly built crossbow, but for some reason keep forgetting to grab the axe. And after 15 minutes, the dementia wears off and I finally remember it. So to try to instead trap tames like the raptor, I built a small bow trap, as any tame for some defense is good to start. Sadly, the raptors were nowhere to be found, so I decided to tame a puny Terra, at least to be able to fly. And of course we need a bear grills. Sorry little buddy, that looked like it hurt. Starting off, I feel like the best plan is to get a flyer so I can start searching for useful tames like Rexes, Baryonyx, Therizinos, and Argentavises. I generally try to aim for level 100 plus, if not, feels like a waste, especially for the boss fight dinos. After a bit, our Terra is tamed, and I know he's only level 29, but we're just going to use him until we can find a high level flyer to actually use. Well, there's only one way to test a bow trap, and that's by poking the bear, or the iguanodon by that means. We knock out the level 135 iguanodon to have double usage as the berry gatherer, and hopefully be able to defend ourselves against raptors. The best part about the bow trap is being able to drive it over to a safe area with the tames knocked out, and tames up so we continue to grab hide to make our saddles. By the end of day 2, we're already leveled up pretty significantly and have a berry gatherer to start grinding out narcotics, a starting base location, and a Terra that is, as his name states, only capable of scouting since he can only carry 124 pounds. In the pitch black, I take the iguana up on our first metal run. To start day 3, we farm some narcotics to start getting some real tames and to tame this random beaver I knocked out. First step is try to find a more functional Pteranodon. The sheer amount of Pteranodons I run around the map trying to find a decent level one is just absolutely crazy. But it's just the beginning of our problems for looking for good tames. But we need something to make it easier to track dinos, Spyglass. I spent a couple minutes looking for Terras. I hit a note with Scout to make him a little bit more bearable in case I can't find a great replacement. I wish Spinos were viable late game as well because they just look so cool to me. We continue to play Pteranodon Search Simulator. Thank God it was just drones and not literally any stronger dino or I would have been done for. Just showing how dangerous the redwoods can be if not vigilant. I knew this low stamina would be dangerous and I practically leave Scout for that because of being a Trudon's attack. Sorry buddy, every man for himself. Somehow he survives and follows me. Trudons and Microraptors are some of the most pesky dinos to deal with in the wild if you're not paying attention. Then the game baits me into putting a raptor right next to the trap. And then it runs away. I guess he didn't like the way Scout was looking at him. Scared him a bit. I basically wasted all of day 3 trying to find the Terra aside from making narcotics and taming the baby beaver. And then we finally find the chosen one after all that time wasted. We knock out our level 140 Pteranodon. We also find a decent level Yankee tame, so we knock it out. Our level 140 tame's up, thankfully, and since the Yankee will take some time, we fly Scout home and grab some berries to fill him up so I don't have to run around picking 70 bushes. After the 140 Terra, I was hoping for a back-to-back with 140 Rex, but instead, we find the actual chosen one. A perfect level 150 Terra. So Prime, I let wild dinos handle my dirty work, and now we have an insanely good pair of Terras to start off. To end day 4, we get our dino Uber going back to the base. Use the night darkness to do a drive-by and attack Parasaur. We get safely back to base and do a metal run to start the day. Having the Yankee with a saddle will be huge, but for now the Iguan will be a pack mule. Level 55 we unlock cryopods, which will make things so much easier transporting dinos. But we also have a majority of everything unlocked we need for the beginning of this challenge aside from saddles. I spot the scaredy cat raptor that ran away, so I decided to use the raft trap to catch him. Plan did not work the way I thought. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Did not plan that through. Did not think that through. Did not think that through. Did not think that through. Holy shit, we got fucked. Holy fucking shit. That was a terrible idea. Thank God he was so petty he wanted to take out the ramp, and we got him. And we end up naming him Eminem the Raptor. Sadly, we don't have any of Mom's spaghetti out here. We grind out some hide to make the Yankee saddle. I went out for a little fly and spotted something beautiful. Ooh. A level 145 Baryonyx. So I spent the rest of the night gathering supplies for a trap, went out to lay the trap. Are you kidding me? Why is that the best Rex I've seen so far in any of these runs? What the fuck is this shit? Bro, I can't get this all. And a level 135 Rex appears, and it began to fight the Baryonyx. So I had to employ a ring around the Rosie attack to stop them from fighting each other. So after I kited the berry, I flew up to unaggro so I could lay the trap. I successfully got it in the trap and knocked it out, so it was a huge relief. To my surprise, before this challenge, I didn't know that Baryonyxes prefer prime fish meat, so then I also had to learn where to get it without having sea tames. So I looked it up and found that surprisingly saber-toothed salmon count as prime fish if harvested with a sickle. I didn't expect them to fight back so hard, so made it a little bit interesting. Which, who would have thought it was going to be a dangerous adventure with another near-death experience. Instead of the salmon being smoked, I almost got smoked. While waiting for the berry to tame, I continue to fight a war with the fish. We get our berry back to base and name it Drew Barrymore. Making the saddle for the berry means we finally have a solid tame to trust riding around on. There's a new sheriff in town, promise. Grabbed a note and went out on a murder spree to get the berry leveled up, by the end of it getting 33 levels. We start off day 7 grinding out some narcotics to hopefully find something worth taming. Time to start crafting the fabricator and make the next step in our base. I feel like the Morphodons just look like little vicious demons, so I love taming them. And just as we make the turn, there she is. The level 135 Rex. The beginning of our hopeful reign. We throw up our trap and attempt to get the Rex in the trap. I literally spent over 3 minutes trying to get this in the trap and just kept running around, absolutely refusing to. Finally, it gets up. After aggroing literally everything around, midway through it tries to sneak attack us with its lover, and we quickly stiff arm that Rex. After literally breaking a crossbow and what felt like forever, we knock it out. I contemplate testing my luck by grabbing this Bronto egg for kibble when I see there's a level 80 and a level 10. And 110 mate boosted, so I decide not. But then I see a Diplo egg, so I grab it and make my way back. Wise man once said YOLO, so we grab the egg. We find our first Alpha Raptor to take out, which is perfect for leveling up, and raw prime for the Rex. Which helps insta-tame the Rex. Text the Rex. We get back to our base and begin to craft foundations, a plan for the move to a new base location. We make our Rex saddle and load everyone up to begin the move. At the dawn of day 8, we begin our migration. We face some roadblocks and distractions, including our Kylo getting bullied by Diplo. After evicting the last tenant, we move in, and although it's not a super central location, I feel like it's better to be here instead of the last place. And puts us in a safe space semi-closer to important POIs. The base is slowly coming together. Now that the new base is assembled, I decide that an RG is hugely important for our game. The terrain on is faster, but the RG is a lot stronger. Health-wise and weight and stamina are so much better, leading to less emergency landings. We spend the second half of day 8 flying around to find an RG, and after not finding anything over level 100, we just settle with the 90 we saw before. Knowing that the RG isn't going to be a boss tame as long as we have good health and weight, I'm happy. It was a little cold, so we sat around the campfire singing our campfire song. Our RG tames up so we can leave and warm up our little tootsies before they fall off our caveman body. We name him Sergeant Tavis the Argentavis. After getting home, there's an alpha raptor too close to home for my liking. Decided it's time to make some cryopods, so gotta farm some polymer. These 5 cryopods will help tremendously to get my dinos transported or to carry around some specific dinos. I wanted an easier way to gather stones, so I found a decent Dodic and took him on a helicopter ride to my home. We begin the tedious process of knocking out the Dodic without having him ball up. He gives us a stank eye and right hooks us. I might be such a noob, I don't know how to make it not as terrible, but the rain is so frustrating visually for the video. We make our Oviraptor a little shack so he can run his little heart around and to boost egg rates. Start off day 10 and Dodic tames up. It's time to build some fur armor so we can even go to the top left of the map, so gotta find some pelts. While on my mission, I spot the best tame in the game. An otter. I was so excited for the otters, I didn't even clear the area, and a Troodons thought they could get in between me and my otters. Now back to the side mission at hand. The other otters sadly died, but we get ours. The otter is the best because it's so cute, and it helps with temperature control, especially in the frozen tundra. And for now, the otter makes it so we don't need fur armor yet, and then the tundra fur is of no shortage. The frozen tundra has a lot of the tames we need for boss fights, including the Daeodon, Utyrannus, and the Megatheriums, all spawning here, which means we'll have to continuously sweep this area until we find decent levels. I run techs all around to farm some levels, and getting this 125 Alpha Carno was the cherry on top. Flying around still looking for tames and culling the weak dinos I need, I forgot a crucial thing of fighting the Uties. Fear roars. It's something that makes them very tedious trying to kill when you're on an RG. I flew into another micro pain in the butt that almost led to another early demise when my RG flew into Narnia. Some more micropests attacked me while grabbing a drop, and then bigger problems arose, so I had to yeet myself off the cliff. We built a taming pen at base to make it a little easier, and we spent some time draining the swamp, trying to find a good piece of equipment, and a male baryonyx. We finally found a 100+ frog, and accidentally meshed it and dropped it, and then this happened trying to grab it again. Oh, please don't tell me you're killing 115. Please don't tell me you're killing 115. What is going on? No! And not even a minute later, everything happens for a reason. Microraptors continue to be the bane of my existence. We finally get some electricity going to get out of the Stone Age. Fridge is up and running, and now all we really need is to learn how to brew Corona and some limes, and the bachelor pad will be all up and ready. While fighting an Alpha Raptor, an Alpha boosted Demorphodon decided to start tag teaming me, and actually started to melt me, so I ran into another Microraptor. Thank God for the Baryonyx to be able to protect me when stunned. That's generally the worst feeling about getting stunned by the Microraptors and the Prolovias, is that you're kind of just stuck. And whatever happens in those 9 seconds is whatever happens. All it takes is one hit by, like, per se, that Alpha Raptor, and I'm dead. We craft our scuba gear, which I said new past 100 Days Hardcore Edition, because although I've had almost 1,600 hours, I have never made it past core gameplay. I've never done any artifact caves, I've never bred dinos, and I've never faced any bosses in this game. My friends and I used to play official servers and just be caught in the blender of getting started up and putting a week into work just to get wiped by an alpha tribe virtually overnight. But I've always loved the game and always wanted to try beating it, so no better way, with no room for error. Always need obsidian for some poly. Hopefully be back here in 85 days facing the Overseer. I love otters so much that I try to tame like any otters I see in the game. It's bad. Would literally fight an army if I had to. Didn't know the Baryonyx was an undercover Easter bunny. The Barry is a great water dino to use to get around until you get something like the Basilo or a Mosa. Especially with the spin stun attack that works on most underwater dinos, helps to escape or fight easier. I always feel bad when dolphins catch themselves in the crossfire. They just want to help. Plesiosaur is just straight nightmare fuel with a face only a mother could love. Searching for Basilos sucks because they have such a low spawn rate. It's literally the border of the whole map that they could be around. So it's so much space to look, and the odds are that even if they spawn, they're low levels anyways. We find a level 90, so out of fear of not finding a better level, I begin to tame it just cause. It's a little tedious waiting for the food to drop to feed it, but at least it doesn't swim lower into danger. Begin a day by swimming around looking for a better Basilo. Went up on land because the water was freezing me to death, so I tried to loop around, and then this happened. I was focusing on getting past the Sabertooths and didn't even see the Prolivia burrowed below, and it almost cost me the run. By some miracle, the berry runs back over to me, which would have been rough trying to get back up to it. And like 2 minutes later, I clearly didn't learn my lesson. I decided it was safer just to get back in the water where there's no Prolovias. I apologize for the atrocities you're about to see. You guys want to gather around a campfire? sing a campfire song? The CMPFIRESONG song? It would help if you just sing along. Okay, little dudes. Finally come back just to tame this level 90 Basilosaurus, to have one at least. Go to hop on and try my Basilosaurus, and I guess the parking brake must have slipped out and it rolled away. So in life, my one big fear I'd say is deep dark water. You know, you just can't see clearly, you don't know what's out there, and that carries over to the hardcore challenge. Because if your tame dies, it's not like you can just run away and hide in the jungle. If your tame dies, you're most likely going to die immediately after, and the run can end like that in an instant. I actually had to look up the Leopleurodon afterwards because I had never seen that one before playing this game, and with the sparkles I thought it was like a shiny Pokemon. That, I guess, has to teleport to escape. While trying to collect my train of thought, this little bump in the road wasted my time. We found a level 120 Rex that I lure in and knock out, which will give us our first breeding pair for the Rexes, which is perfect. Farming 2 Alpha Raptors, waiting for the Rex to tame up. The Rex tames up, but we spot a 130 Megapithecus while cleaning up the Arctic, so we start cleaning out dinos around. When a new challenger approaches. And quickly establishes dominance. With the Argentavis already going down, I figured the Rex and I were next, so I just had to jump ship and run as fast as I could. Why does stuff like this have to happen? Thankfully, the Mega survived, unlike Sargentavis, whom we spent a couple minutes looking for his bag with all of our goodies. I finally find Sarge's items and grab the valuables. After losing the RG, we had to make this death at least be for a reason and build a trap for the Mega. Gotta work on my training abilities. They're a little off, gotta perfect them for Black Ops 6. We knock out our first Megatherium of the challenge. Our Megatherium tames up, but we cryo it to make our walk back to the Rex easier. I pre-built an RG trap around their breeding ground to hopefully carjack a new ride home. And luckily a level 140 RG. I had to get rid of his weak girlfriend, and I don't think he liked that. He juked the trap the first time, but I tempt him with a little booty nibble, and he gets caught in it. And we knock the RG. And the RG tames up, and we're back in business. Finally reunite the couple, so we take them on their first date, which is a murder spree down the river. Too busy chaperoning their first date, I get blindsided. After a long and hard journey, we finally get home. I try to harvest some polymer for the chem station, and this adorable little thief keeps stealing it. After fighting an adorable thief for polymer, we do get enough to make our chem bench, which on day 19 doesn't feel like a terrible place. We build a saddle for our new costly best friend. On top of being a Broodmother dino, I love that Megatherium is so good for berry gathering, it's amazing. We throw up some sap taps because they'll have to do for syrup for pancakes, until we find some maple trees. Even though it's only day 20, we go for the artifact of the clever. I heard it was the easiest to do, and I figured it'll help level up the baryonyx. I've never done an artifact run in any map, so the artifact of the clever being so easy surprised me because I thought they all would be insanely hard. Although I've seen they get so much worse, I was glad to get the first one of 10 done. Then we grab the artifact of the clever, and we walk out of there. Well, I was just thinking about how I've never seen two Titanosaurs so close to each other. And almost had a Clash of the Titan Part 2.
Oh, get away from it!
As the baryonyx is running towards them, the Titan with a saber on his tail. The last thing we need was 2 deaths in 3 days over accidents. We flew around all day until we found this. We build a trap and get it in there. And this Carl gets jealous that we're not taming it. And Drew gets the wrong idea. We were running around wiping the area while the berry tamed until this happened. So within 30 minutes we find a level 140 and a level 150. And only if our luck stayed as good for the rest of the run. While I was building, he was trying to climb in the trap, so he's clearly excited to join the team. And since the Theres have such terrible Torbor, we have no choice but to babysit. We finished babysitting the first Theres, you know, and now we just need the second one to finish. I feel like sad Stitch sitting in the rain while waiting for this, and they're finally both done. And now we can head back home with our new tames. Nicely enough, we farmed out a lot of narcotics while babysitting. We start to grind out the industrial forge and the requirements. Yankee randomly starts throwing it back. If it wasn't evident, I have never used a grappling hook on this game. I look like a crane trying to lift up 1,000,000 pounds. I'm so clueless. And now I turn into a toddler on a backpack leash. Now a word from our sponsor. There isn't one. After 2 minutes of more confusion, I figure it out and break my legs. We start building our greenhouse as well. We saddle up our tickle chicken friends, which I have never actually tamed before, and I just remember everyone talking about how good they were at PvP unofficial. I begin the day farming black pearls, which with no ocean experience might take me a second to find them. I see my first ever mosasaur, which is so intimidating. I somehow find another Leopleurodon, and I finally find some Euryptids, which I kind of forgot about. I always get nervous in Mosa or something is going to bull rush me when I'm in the water. But we finished with 21 pearls, which feels like a good amount. I go on a crystal spree since we need a lot for the base. Getting the greenhouse going will be huge for us endgame. It's a good thing I'm not a plumber, because the battle I had with these pipes was like Mario getting hit by a thwomp. Ladies and gentlemen, we've done it. To my surprise, a diamond in the rough. We knock out the Daedon, which is a key to our success in boss battles. I was farming Prime for the Daedon, and what would be a day in Arc without a close call? The one death I had was on day 27, so it wouldn't be the huge first loss we've had. We tame up Pumbaa, and of course someone wants attention. I haven't seen this much crystal since Breaking Bad. We finally turn this greenhouse into a green home. Very important to the greenhouse, the poop machine. So we go get Phoebe the Phiomia. A fun function to quickly fill up crop plots with stimberries, which turns the Phiomia into a politician's mouth. Just continuous shit coming out of it. I'm joking. I'm not a political person and don't look to bring politics here. It just felt funny in the moment. We plant all of our important crops for kibbles and recipes that we will need. I never knew the Daedon was such a bottomless pit. Our farm is starting to come along nicely, so things are going good. Never having done the swamp cave, I make 6 masks just in case they break fast. Now that the greenhouse is built, our next goal is the Indie Forge, and we need a lot of resources. With all the cementing paste we craft, we're good to move on to the rest. While grinding our resources, we run into an alpha that we kill to finally hit level 100. Who would have thought? The volcano is hotter than Satan's asshole, so we have to craft cloth armor. We spot a level 135 UD, so we built the trap, and then Beauty got glitched, so I took advantage of it, shooting it at least 15 times. And I readjusted to shoot it again, and after 12 shots it randomly unglitched itself, and then it got scary. I was running my little legs as hard as I could, running the opposite direction of the trap. And I thought this was the end, till it aggroed the mammoth. But then it wouldn't leave the mammoth alone, so I tried luring it with the RG, until it decided to fear roar and waste 20 seconds of my life. So instead we used the Rex as bait. And after a very easy process, the Yudi is out. The Yudi tames up, and I keep looking for more tames. I find a level 140 direwolf, which I feel will be good for a cave tame, and it fights me all the way to the Megapithecus Raft. We team up Ghost, which he leaves my challenge for a little bit to cameo in Game of Thrones, but he comes back. We get our Yudi a well-needed saddle. So I level him up a bit while I see the Basilo in a fight, and then he tries to run away from home. After searching up and down the beach, it seems we need a more intensive search for a little Bassie. I find a wild Basilo before ours. I gave up and started looking for a new Bassie. But instead found 3 lead Cictus, which I have never seen 2 next to each other, let alone 3. I literally spent over an hour and a half looking for the Basilo. Are you fucking kidding me? Just for it to be stuck on a rock right by shore that I flew by the whole time. I love how funny it looks beating a Hesperornis with a candy cane. I love tech animals to be able to farm electronics, to not have to craft them myself. You keep beating birds with candy canes to farm polymer. You know it's not the same as it. And piranhas interrupt our concert, so we get back to the candy cane massacre. It was worth it. After all that grinding, we craft our indie forge. Life is good, you know what I mean? My plan for the dragon was to get Theres bred up and then farm some veggie cakes to help recover HP. For that you need crops and honey. So I made some bug repellent and flew over to a bee's hive. I've never gotten a queen bee in this, so I have no idea how hard it will be. So I started blasting. My inner Chris Kyle kicked in, taking out that snake next to the practice target, except the Terra ate that shot for breakfast. I finally broke the hive and then climbed up with a grapple and couldn't feed it on the grapple, and I started to panic. It's bad enough I can't use a grappling hook, and then putting a swarm of bees made it impossible for my small hero. This whole fast forwarded clip is the definition of the struggle is real. So my brain was like, okay, use the rare flower to lure it down. Well, the 140 Terra thought I wanted to smoke, so it brought it. I decided it was time to rethink, and then this Microraptor almost alley-ooped me into the swamp animals. After that pitiful attempt, I went home to regroup.
It almost got me. I dodged it, but it nicked me. It nicked me.
I almost get RKO'd again. We spent the entirety of day 32 finding beehives and didn't get a queen till this hive. It was probably my fault though. I almost didn't learn my lesson again. So I paused to look up videos to make sure I don't mess up taming it again. So I paused recording and forgot to restart the recording before taming the bee. So I apologize for being an idiot, but it's in my inventory now. Being a third of the way through the challenge, I'm not very confident in the tame count that we have. And I know breeding is an option, but more perfect level tames would give me more confidence. At this point, a level 120 is a necessity to tame in case we can't find better. With it being such a dangerous area, I kill literally everything around to not risk it getting hit. And of course, at the last second, a pack of wolves spawns next to me. I had my down as my passive to not risk hitting the mega, but the wolves hit it indirectly to drop it 11 levels, and thus lesson learned was born. We get back safely and we put our hive in. I never knew your own bees can kill you, and they chunk half my health. And I learned you need to wear gillies, so I put the flowers in so we can make honey. During the metal run, I fly by the redwood and narrowly escaped with my life, realizing it's time to make a pump shotgun as that was far too close for comfort. Glad to be alive, I can't complain about the metal run being cut short, so I need some poly for the pump. I never knew Chalicotheriums got rocket launchers because they were slinging. We will now cut the commercial break. Well, now that we magically got organic polymer, we can make the shotgun. We find basically our only perfect pair we'd be lucky to find, and perfect in that they're both good levels. We start knocking out the 130 first, and the scorpion gets a little jealous, so he tried to make me take a nap. And the 130 got boosted from killing a bug and took forever to knock out. And we knock out the 120, so both safely in the box. While breaking down the trap, they finish taming up. We head back to craft up the industrial cooker for making med brews and recipes better, and our much needed pump shotgun. We've had way too many close calls, so we need to make the med brews now. So I decided to try the underwater cave since my Basilo is 35k health, and I figure it should be able to tank and then heal whatever I fight. I've never gone in this cave and completely misjudged how hard it would be, and was lucky to sneak out alive. After a huge failure sacrificing the Basilo to survive, I still wanted to do a cave to regain my confidence, so we headed to the swamp cave. I realized my Megatherium is thick with 3 Cs, so thank God for cryopods. I then learned how absolutely amazing the swamp cave is for leveling up Megatheriums as it went up 30 levels in the first corridor. Too thick yet again, so Cryopod did a rescue. We keep powering through leveling this Mega to the moon, and I forgot how funny it looks with the leech giving a good suck.
Rotor aircraft, capable of rapid positional changes and aggressive endurance. When domesticated, the Chopahara is typically outfitted with a fixed array.
We get the artifact of the immune and dip out of the cave. We continue our daily nuking of Carnal Island to get a better Rex to spawn, and randomly this pops up. I guess when I was outside of the base and disconnected that I must have came back and forgot about the otter not being on my shoulder anymore. I got barely any red drops in this challenge, so getting an assault rifle, which I've never actually crafted before, was pretty cool. Wish it was a better shotgun, but still cool. We get back to see our bees had made some honey already, so good progress. I had heard that this underwater cave was easier and had seen it be able to be done with a baryonyx, so I headed in to see if I could get that done. And this is the first thing I saw. Huh? What? No, I'm good. So I knew we at least needed another Basilo. We skipped to another ad break. So it took a very long time to record this, over a year and a half spread out. So I completely forgot that the Karka was added to the game, and it scared me for seeing it the first time that I could run into it. I spent the morning trying to find a good Therizino to build our army more, but I couldn't find any decent ones, so I decided it's time to start breeding our Megatheriums. We had our one solo male Megatherium that was mating with all the females. I gave him an appropriate name, Nick Cannon. Let's hope the Megatherium cares more about getting to know his babies. The first breeding we do in this challenge, triplets. Now only if we could stay that lucky. I love how cute the baby tames are. We get 5 Megatheriums out of our first batch, so a good start. Except that all 5 of them are males, so we can't breed off of this group. Also, I apologize that I didn't know what good rates for breeding, hatching, maturing, and coloring rates would be for this challenge, since I had never done it before, while also only having 100 days solo for this challenge, and I will look to be more educated for next time to make better rates. Although, It's day 40 and I'm still struggling to find good Rexes, which could be the downfall of this challenge. I basically fight a baby mosasaur to make me feel better about not being able to kill the Alpha 270. The Archods spawn in this Titanosaur right in front of me to flex their power. We had found a level 90 Basilosaurus, and with the struggle of finding even a decent level, so I had to tame it to at least have something viable. And then leveling up the Basilo, I accidentally hit an Ammonite, which means everything wants to smoke. Which thankfully there weren't any alphas around or any Tusatusis as well, so we made it through, but it could have been really bad. I tame a dolphin as another option for the underwater caves. There's a purple fucking drop. Here's a purple little drop. I started to lose my mind flying around and looking for boss dinos. Moments later, my delusion paid off and I found a level 145 Theory. After 4 attempts of leading the Theory into the trap, I realized I messed up. And fixed it, and then voila, it worked. While knocking out, sadly, the Lystro turned into a UAV to let me know that there was a raptor there with its sacrifice. Which, thank God, because that 145 would have wiped me clean. And after dealing with our distraction, we get back to knocking it out.
Fuck you want? What you want, little dude? How's it going? Look at those teeth. I hear what you're saying. No, I completely understand. You wanna go for a walk?
We teamed up a trike named Operation Theory to help get berries to tame the Theories, since I forgot to bring a gatherer with me. Waiting for the Theory to tame, we tamed this little monkey dudette, Stephanie, in remembrance of Steve from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. The Theory teams up. Rain really just puts a damper on the challenge for me, as it basically wastes time because of the visibility and ruins the content visually. My never-ending sadness from Rex levels continues with some ripe level 15s. I realized that throughout the challenge, I should have left the alphas to kill when I got other tames to level up, because I killed dozens of alphas with the practically same maxed out Rex. I decided to make a saddle for a crappy male Rex to level him up a bit, and happened to find an alpha raptor to kill with it, which only 3 levels gained, but better than nothing. It's time to mass produce cryopods like no tomorrow so that we can carry everything with no worries. Since I'm still struggling to find a good mating male Rex, I decided to at least breed my good Theory pair to have the egg. My 900th trip to the Carnal Island in hopes of a good Rex.
Oh my God, baby Lord Jesus. Baby Lord Jesus.
And I will say I'm not religious, but at the moment it felt like a miracle to get a good Rex. Our new Rex has some unwanted guests, so we worked together in our team building skills, and helped him take them out. So we get Mr. Rex in the trap, and knock him out. He teams up, so I figured what better place to take him out for a spin. The bright red colors, I think the Rex needed a better name. So, we named him Hades. So far this run of being on Carnal Island is the most Rexes I've seen yet. Hades is the only one above level 90. So we start day 51 by flying back from Carnal Island after farming levels and looking for more Rexes. And we always need obsidian. Feeling a little uneasy with the difficulty of the underwater caves, I wanted to tame some Megs to help. Our new friend did a little trick. We struggled so badly finding a Basilo, and then...
Basilosaurus. Are you kidding me? Huh? Let's fucking go.
We find a level 135.
What the fuck? Dude, I've never found any, nowhere close to this many before.
Taming that 135 makes me feel so much better, and that means we also have a good breeding pair, which is huge.
I love when a parasaur is so I don't care that it just watched me take the egg and it's like, ah, can have it. I didn't want that one anyways. And he laughs about it afterwards. The worst parent of the year award goes to the parasaur. Little otter. Yeah, little otter. I need another one. There's another otter. No! Stop! This isn't for you guys. You're adorable. I can't be mad at you. You're adorable. But this isn't for you two. I'm trying to get you guys a sibling. What? There's monkeys everywhere too now. Yo, this beach is lit. You know, I don't know much about physics. But it appears to me that this little dude should be dead. Forget about that breathing thing. That would be the way I would die too. Catching otters. I mean, listen. I've only put about 80 hours of my life into this. But if I died to get this little dude, this adorable little dude, I'm fine with that. Yeah, show him who's bought. Oh, you are hella hurt. Oh, you are not okay. That's pretty cool. Gotta stay very quiet, or I'll get spooked. This dude's got blue eyes. What? Steve the monkey. So it's like this dude's got blue. Oh, it wasn't blue eyes, but I mean those colors are pretty crazy. Want your girlfriend? We'll get your girlfriend. Now this is a squad to be reckoned with for a boss battle. As you can tell, I'm very productive with my time. I wouldn't waste any time in this 100 hours at all.
Finally having a good male Rex means it's time to start breeding. Our goal to start the day is to get the artifact of the hunter. We begin fighting our way through the cave. For some reason I needed to kill the scorpion in my head and thought the water was empty for some reason.
Only thinking about the piranhas, I was just trying to find my way back to the shore, and I didn't expect this.
So we grab the artifact and go to leave after waiting for cryo sickness to wear off. We run into the water to see if there's anything of value. After hearing the Stark was behind me, I dart for the shore so I don't get barrel rolled. And I knew that was bound to happen. And all that for garbage. At least I got the artifact, but would have loved the drop to be better.
Nothing to see here, move along. You want me next? That's what I thought. It's the holiday season. To beat a goose with a candy cane. No, they're chasing around the monkey. The monkey. No, the monkey! We couldn't protect him from everything, sadly. He lived a good life. He just lived in a very dangerous part of town. This man was living in the equivalent of Ark Chicago, basically. The big monkey dreams he never saw coming. He couldn't have prepared himself for this. Him and his wife are just about to get a nice little apartment in a tree here. Sad day. You'll not be forgotten, monkey.
We find a tempting pair of 90 and 95 Rexes amidst our desperation, and another miracle. We find a 145 Megatherium. After we spend the night clearing out the beach and building up the trap, we knock it out. With how dangerous the area is, I probably won't leave it. We tame up the 145 Megatherium and set our eyes on a new target. It was only a level 100 theory, but I figured just in case, it was better than nothing. And he juked me, came around the corner like Nick Bosa, and almost flattened me. And literally a minute after knocking it out, there's a 145 right there. And we knock out the 145 too. I wish I had this much luck finding high-level Rexes because this challenge would have been much easier. So I spend the rest of the day babysitting the Aries. Both Aries finally tame up. We knocked out a level 130 Megatherium that we found. After taming to 130 Mega, we found a perfect level 150 UD. The woes had already begun as I tried making a trap and chose a bad area to do it, and thus making it need some special work. And little did I know that was just the beginning of the struggle. Trying to lead him up I knew wouldn't be a walk in the park since the Fear Roar works on the RG and the Vizionz. In addition to the Fear Roar, he had the attention span of a toddler.
I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind. Dude, this is so annoying. This is so fucking... I'm about to pull out the wreck.
I finally got him up to the trap. He gets distracted.
I'm going to lose my mind. Holy shit. Dude, I'm going to lose it. I'm gonna fucking lose my mind.
I finally took out the card out to hopefully make it easier. I almost debated just killing the UD, but then I had my Thanos moment of fine, I'll do it myself. After everything, we finally got the UD in the trap. And it only took like 15 minutes. We were 60 shots into knocking out the UD, and it had gotten dark. So dark that I hadn't even paid attention to the blood of the UD. Sadly, I didn't think about the fact that the damage the RG had done when it got in the trap would affect it.
Bro.
Worst part about it is that it was only a couple arrows away from being knocked out, which means that RG damage really was what put it over the edge. I don't know why I wasted my time taming this level 115 Theory. I must have been so demoralized with killing the UD that I needed to bounce back. On the bright side, we have a usable breeding pair for Rexes, Theories, and Megatheriums. And we have 5 out of 10 artifacts, but we still have the hardest caves left, and have to breed a worthy army. I didn't mean to do this, but it was just funny to see. And apparently this leech is made of vibranium. Somehow the leech just disappeared after coming back to the server. While taming another otter, I didn't learn my lesson and forgot to tame again. I think this might be the most important tame we've made of the last couple days, you know? I ran my Theories home to level them up a little bit. Oh, the cryosickness otter looks like he just died. Somehow it took till day 59 for me to make feeding troughs for the base. I flew around all morning of day 60 and found nothing of value, so I knocked out the level 95 Rex just to waste my time lowering the efficiency. We mated Tex and Hades again, and bred the Theories to keep stockpiling the eggs up. And we pop out some baby megas. I start building the hatchery and realize that I'm an idiot.
So a little brain fart in addition to not hitting record. I just plugged all these generators with like the cables going below them and sat here for a good 5 minutes trying to figure out why it wouldn't work. I didn't connect the cables directly to the generator. So I put this second line in above, and thank God they put one of these flexible cable things as a electrical for dummies in this game. We're gonna make a decent amount of areas just in case, because you never know. What if it's twins or triplets? Twins!
Our theories start hatching, and I guess I must have been psychic. I had forgotten this theory was mating, and it hatched the egg itself, and it was growing. I had picked up the accident theory and threw it out and forgot about cryosickness, so basically screwed this theory out of imprinting fully, so he's useless at this point. And we spend the rest of the day raising babies. I started a metal run to stock up, and I found a birthday dodo. I was sad you couldn't tame the birthday dodo. I was alpha farming until this alpha cryo did a magic trick. Hatched up some more little demons to raise up for the next day, and I spent the whole day hatching and raising babies. We start off the day by going for the artifact of the pack. I always hate going in the water areas like this, especially after the last cave, getting barrel rolled off the berry. We grab the artifact of the pack and gun it out of there. I began to make some Freya curry to help us with doing the ice caves and then eventually the Megapithecus. I began breeding the basilos for a baby. Never really breeding before, I forgot that the imprinting gives a bonus to your tame's stats right off the bat, and when you ride them, even more so.
That's a surprise tool that can help us later.
Where do baby basilosauruses come from?
We took the baby out with us to level it up. I was gonna need some more juiced up bassies for that cave. I was grabbing eggs when I realized I had been away for so long and forgot that the Vizionz were breeding that the babies had hatched and fully grew and survived in the base.
The eggs were so warm from having so many Vizionz around that the eggs were hatching and they were just sitting here.
I didn't even know that was possible. So I separated off the 4 accidents. Being 0% imprinted, these theories would be practically worthless. So I named them contestants 1 through 4 and put them out in the swamp on aggressive to fend for themselves to see if they're alive on day 70. I said I would come back if they were. We used our sacrifice dodo to try to help get twins or triplets. And we spent the rest of the day raising babies.
Twins! It worked!
I didn't get distracted.
No, no,
Get away from me! You little assholes! You're evil. God damn it. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Listen, this isn't a game. That was the core goalie. Look at him. Look at him. So to start the day, my goal was to get the artifact of the Skylord. Being on foot made me very nervous since you can die in a blink in this game. I'd seen that it's possible to have a wolf in this area, so I brought one in. It kept getting stuck, so I tried to move it through the cave for extra defense when disaster struck. I got stuck. I tried leaving and it didn't work to unglitch me. And many other things, including a grenade, which could have ended very badly. I don't like doing this, but at this point, it had been over an hour, and I decided to teleport myself to the edge of the cave to get myself unglitched. Thank God I had a parachute. I had to go home to get a new otter, since mine was in the cave, and when I got back I accidentally whistled the RG, and he flew through the side of the wall and got stuck inside the map. At this point, I felt like Ark was playing a sick joke on me. While moving through the cave, I realized the direwolf and my best otter had despawned when I teleported out of the cave. I'm shooting BB pellets at these things? I grabbed the artifact of the Skylord and then dipped. But then the next problem. I was just like Spider-Man. No way home. I gave up trying to figure out and decided to run home on the berry with my only saddle tame. What is he fighting? Is he fighting bats? By some miracle, the RG was free. Oh, thank fucking God. I would have lost it if I had to run back. So I flew back home to safety. To start the day, we get a surprise in that we had twin basilos, which is the least helpful twins, but it's still good. I yet again forgot about cryo sickness, and now I have to sit here and babysit Hades till he wakes up. So I try to juice up a new baby Rex. I decide just to go for the artifact of the Devourer. I begin fighting my way through the cave. Megalania has an impressive flip to his death. And we get the artifact of the Devourer and get out of there. And I ran out of there until... second time's the charm. Hades is still having his nap time, so with nothing to do, I begin force healing the Rex out of boredom. Out of boredom, I set up a little smelting area to try to make another Rex saddle. I can have him roar and just go back to sleep. Hades finally woke up from the power nap, so I took them alpha hunting on the island, and there was 2 alpha carnos right next to each other. So I'm glad I waited for Hades because I delayed him attacking to let the low-level Rex level up. And if I didn't whistle Hades to attack, let alone didn't have him, the Rex would have died easily. Another alpha to take on. It was time to go back to the underwater cave for the artifact of the Cunning. My first plan was just to take the only baryonyx and swim above everything like I'd seen other people do, but I got scared when everyone was already aggroed on me immediately. I knew the only other option was brute force. I I brought my pair of mate boosted basilos, the baryonyx, and the one megalodon I had, because why not? I still try to swim at the top of the cave to pick things off methodically. After that insane fight, I decided to force feed the baryonyx that was absolutely pummeled from all that. I expected to lose the Meg, but he served well on board today. Even if the Basilo could only attack in the part of the cave, it still helped massively for the damage output and reducing our damage taken, so wouldn't have been possible without it. And we grab the artifact and just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Now that puts us at only 2 artifacts left to grab before the boss fight, the ice cave and the other underwater cave. In preparations for the ice cave, I made some Freya curries, some grenades, and stocked up my ammo. So we arrive at the cave for the artifact of the strong. Very nervous, I work my way into the cave. I've heard how deadly this cave is, and just seeing the levels alone is intimidating. The Rexes help propel me through the beginning part until they're too big and any of the berries go. I try to use a tickle chicken to tickle them while they can't reach me. Error not found. Fighting our way through this cave was not easy at all. It was tooth and nail, and our dinos were clearly taking a heavy beating. Huh? Like it'd been a little too long since our last life and death situation. Why didn't that grenade go off on that? It landed right on top of it. So we get the artifact that is strong, and then have our new problem to deal with. This direwolf practiced guerrilla warfare and almost got me off guard. Then these salmon get jealous that I'm not bringing them, so they decide to attack. Finally, we get him in the pond. We get right next to the exit. I go to pot up the Rex and accidentally toss out the Theory right at the exit. After his nap, we get out to find the RG gone and go chase him down. On my way home, I accidentally jump off the RG mid-flight, and very thankfully that I had a parachute. begin hatching up some more Rexes to start the day. And then add some Theries to the mix. Upgraded the Theries berry harvesting and realized something funny.
I love that it like adds the numbers in afterwards, like it's like a recalculation, like, oh, you grabbed this many berries, oh wait, you grabbed some more. We didn't see the little feller snuck in there.
The day is spent being a daycare center. Baby Mega Cannon got shot off. I decide it's time for the final artifact, so I assemble a squad and move out. We make our way into the cave. We cruise through and it feels too good to be true with how easy it was. Then we see why. A level 280 Alpha Moza. I quite literally spent 30 minutes with anxiety through the roof to think of how to deal with this. My Basilos are powerful, but that feels impossible. After much deliberation and research, I decided to shoot the Mosa and see what happens. When I had research, I'd seen people say that the Alpha Mosas in the cave are kind of derpy, and especially with the turn radius, will just run into walls. Now, I consider myself to have really bad luck, so I do some nervous loops to see if he gets unstuck that I can sprint on the fast Bassie. So we grab the artifact of the brute and swim for our lives. Day 81 and we have all the artifacts. My anxiety was sky high, but is now eased that I don't have to go into any more caves. So with 18 days until I plan to be starting the Tek Cave, until then I just have to make the groups of tames that I'll be taking and level them up. We will first do the Broodmother, then the Megapithecus, then the Dragon. I begin leveling up some Megatheriums as the first boss fight being the Broodmother will be 18 Megatheriums, 1 Beauty, and 1 Daedon.
Where are you coming from tonight, sir? Okay. How many pieces of raw meat have you had? Can you step out of the car, please? We're gonna have a little walk. No, you blinked.
Since we're so close to the Green Ob, I decided just to run a little train over there. Being my first boss fight ever, I didn't know what to expect. It made me super nervous even though I heard it should be really easy. I messed up utilizing the Yudi and the Daedon, so it could have been better, but it felt like it was too easy compared to what I expected, given the fight had only taken about 3 minutes at most. It still felt like a relief to have the first of 3 bosses done. I for some reason decided to walk the Rexes to the Megapithecus boss fight so I can level them up. Which just turns into me losing Rexes, getting caught on trees and rocks, and almost gave me an aneurysm. I got them close and cryo them to slowly transfer them out at the obelisk. It's time for the Megapithecus. We go in and clean house almost faster than the Broodmother, and something seemed weird to me. So I googled and looked up to look more into the settings of Arc and single player. And being that I am an Arc noob in terms of actually grinding the game to play for an endgame, I was unaware that single player had single player settings, and that they affect the game itself. In terms of single player, I didn't know that it speeds up taming, breeding, and increasing the level up stats of dinos. So unknowingly, being the Arc noob that I am, I had just juiced my Rexes and Megatheriums for these boss fights. And I wanted to do it right, so I turned off single player, which dropped down my Rex's stats to a normal official level. I spawned in the artifacts needed again for the Megapithecus, and my curry that I wasted on that fight. I also ended up spawning in the artifacts to redo the Broodmother, as I wanted to do them legitimately. So we went back in and fought the Megapithecus in a fair fight. 18v1, as all real fights happen. We go to refight the Broodmother at a fair fight, even though I forgot to turn on auto roar on the Yudi, which would have made it a better fight. But just like the Megapithecus, we get out with no casualties. So originally the plan for the dragon fight was to use Therizinos, but with the lack of ample veggie cakes due to my inexperience with planning, as well as the fact that my Theris have a substantially lower HP, it made me worry that they wouldn't be strong enough to survive. We spent the entirety of days 92 to 94 leveling up the Rexes and slowly throwing them out of the pods at the red op.
Seeing him fly off fast, that's just made it so funny.
Day 95, we finally make our way into the fight. I immediately began to panic and hoped I wouldn't misplay. The first part that sucked was that he landed on the other side of the lava. So they all had to run into the lava, and that didn't really bode well. And because of that, I couldn't get them around to the backside of the dragon, so the casualties came fast. I think my inexperience really showed with this fight, and as I could have taken a lot less casualties, it ends up getting so bad.
I just gotta keep fighting. If I pass out, there's no way I can do this.
The the UD goes down and it's just me and one other Rex. So I had to pull out the pump shotty and hope for a miracle. Oh my god, that was literally so atrocious. That was so bad. That was so fucking bad. Oh my god. You just have the bag on you. Dude, what are you at? Oh my fucking god. That might have been. We survived with one Rex until he was so sad he lost his friends that he just offed himself. He died. He died. My last Rex just died. He was just alive. He just died. What is going on? Oh my god, he died too. Oh my god. Where were you two idiots? You guys weren't even there any. Oh my god. What just happened? That was not at all how we planned that fight to go. I never really expected us to be able to beat the Overseer, but I think heading into it, I'm a lot less confident now. Coming out of this fight, I have almost no confidence for the Overseer with the fact that we lost 16 Rexes, including our best Rexes, and our UD, and our Daedon. Now we head back to the base to see what we can do. We have our reject Rexes that didn't make it in the fight that we decided to breed. Oh my god, if there was ever a time to get twin Rexes, it was now. The time is up, the time is now. So hatching up, we get twins, thankfully, but I was unaware that single player had also boosted the imprinting time in effect, so sadly these won't be 100% imprinted, since the settings aren't even. We start to assemble our army with the leftover Rexes, the baby Rexes, and the best theories and Megatheriums that we have. And we start slowly taking all of our dinos over to the cave entrance. Well, I accidentally set about 2/5 of my tame on fire, so I had to wait for them to heal. So my goal was to get everything at the door for the entrance on day 99, day 100. So we survived 100-day hardcore even after our first 9 deaths. And it's time to get everyone in the cave once they heal. We begin moving everyone into the cave, and chaos begins immediately as yet again, no experience kills me. My Rexes cause a traffic jam, I start panicking. And in the end, only 25 dinos make it. Missing over half of my dinos and a lot of valuable tames. Either way, we have to move on. Some dinos outside of the cave ended up dying as they probably ran into the lava, but it scared me that dinos inside had ran into lava. I accidentally tossed my otter off and had to go back for him and got ambushed by a Prolovian. And my courageous otter fought so hard to save me, and we moved on. No, I need the otter! I get off of my Alpha Rex to safely move dinos around the turn, and Prolovia's attacking it. The Alpha Queen Bee's turn radius runs her off the edge and into the lava. With the death of Queen D, one of the other Rexes couldn't take it anymore. What are you even doing down there? I had already lost 2 Rexes to non-combat deaths. I wasn't losing more to the Prolovias. The knockback almost took some dinos out as I was playing a game of inches. There was no way I was going to be able to fight the Karka, so the lava had to do the work for me. That Capro had the free pick on me to take me out, and nobody stopped it. We finally make it to the gate, and I would have stopped to heal, but I didn't prepare for the cold to affect me, so I had to just move on to the next area. I've never seen this place before, but it looks so cool that I would stop and look if I wasn't freezing to death. I'm in danger. The first phase ends up being the Broodmother, which we already lost several tames. And my minuscule hope had gone to almost zero. The next form was the Megapithecus, and I had very unfortunate timing that as he finally picked a phase, I decided to switch tames. I don't think the boulder really destroyed my chances. I think inevitably I was going to die to the Megapithecus phase. My dinos were looking really rough, and it's what it is. Oh, that was the worst timing ever. I mean, I made his day honored with the casualties we took in the dragon fight. And after that, I just didn't see it possible that we were going to survive this anyways. It was a long shot. I'm glad we even made it through the cave. I was really scared with the fact that I think my 3 top Rexes had ran into the lava, and that was all there was. We took a pretty good chunk. That was just very unfortunate timing, and I realized the second it lagged and it flew across the screen that it was over. Hey buddy, I'm just trying to film an outro here. Well, that was after the culmination over 130 hours of recording. Haven't finished editing, but gonna assume over 100 plus hours of editing as well. Hopefully you guys liked the video. Hopefully it's something you guys enjoyed. If you want to see anything like this ever again with any other games or with Ark on a different map, which I might plan to do, or different Ark challenges, just let me know. Comment, subscribe. I appreciate any support. This took a lot of time. Very sad that we couldn't beat it, but after the dragon, I kind of felt like there was very slim chance of making it through. But I appreciate you guys watching, even if you watched this far, and hopefully you guys have a great day.